Here's what nobody tells you about when it comes to choosing between Central Austin and those suburbs. It's not just about the commute times or square footage anymore. We're talking about fundamentally different lifestyles, different daily experiences, and honestly, very different versions of what Austin living actually means these days. So today I'm breaking down exactly what life is like in Central Austin versus the suburbs. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which side actually fits your lifestyle. So whether you're the type who wants to walk to the best foodie restaurants and live music venues throughout the city, or maybe you'd rather have a big yard, resort style neighborhood amenities and easy lake access, we're going to talk about the real day-to-day differences between each of these areas. So let's dive in and see what living in each of these areas is actually really like. First, let's talk about Central Austin. When I say Central Austin, I'm talking about wonderful neighborhoods like Tarrytown, Zilker, Hyde Park, Clarksville, and the list goes on. These are all areas that are basically within a few miles of downtown, that Central Austin core. And what makes Central Austin so compelling is the incredible sense of being right in the middle of everything that makes Austin, Austin. Your walking distance or a quick bike ride to Barton Springs, South Congress, Rainy Street, Lady Bird Lake, and all of the fantastic restaurants and bars and entertainment that people move to Austin for in the first place. The lifestyle here, I would say, is urban adjacent. You have tree-lined streets with sidewalks. You can walk your dog to a coffee shop, grab a bite at your favorite food truck, and be at a live music venue all within minutes. And there's an energy and convenience to Central Austin that you simply can't replicate anywhere else in the metro. You're certainly plugged into the cultural heartbeat of the city when you're in Central Austin. And let's talk about the food scene, because if you're a foodie like I am, Central Austin is where you want to be. We're talking about some of the best restaurants in Texas within a few mile radius. Uchi, Odd Duck, Red Ash, Barley Swine, the list goes on. You have everything from Michelin award-winning chefs to incredible food trucks, all within walking or biking distance. Same goes for nightlife and live music. Austin is the live music capital of the world, and the heart of that scene is in Central Austin. You can walk to venues on 6th Street, Red River, or Rainy any night of the week. And there's spontaneity to living in Central Austin, where you can decide at 7 p.m. to go see a show or try that new restaurant that everyone's been talking about, and you're there in 10 minutes. That kind of walkability and access to culture is what Central Austin is all about. Central Austin does have great amenities, but they're definitely urban amenities. You have Lady Bird Lake with the hike and bike trail, which is absolutely gorgeous and of course incredibly popular. Barton Springs Pool is another iconic spot and one of the best spots in the city, but it's also crowded, especially on weekends. You have neighborhood parks and green spaces scattered all throughout, but they tend to be smaller and more heavily used than what you'd find in the suburbs. The amenities are fantastic, but you're sharing them with a lot of other people. That's just the nature of urban living though. If you thrive on that energy and don't mind the crowds, it's perfect. If you prefer more space and quieter amenities, it might feel a bit overwhelming and potentially frustrating. Now let's talk about the homes themselves in Central Austin. Don't worry, I'm going to get to the suburbs as well. This is where things get really interesting for a lot of our clients. If you're looking for contemporary, more modern architecture with clean lines, floor-to-ceiling windows, and high-end finishes, Central Austin is mainly where you're going to find this. There's been a massive wave of renovations and new construction over the past decade, and many of the newer homes in neighborhoods like Zilker, Tarrytown, and East Austin are stunning contemporary new builds. You'll also find luxury condos and high-rises, especially downtown, with concierge services, building amenities like rooftop pools and fitness centers, and incredible views of the city or Lady Bird Lake. If the idea of lock and leave living with a doorman and rooftop deck appeals to you, that's almost exclusively a Central Austin thing. You're not finding luxury condos with those kinds of services and amenities in places like Round Rock or Cedar Park. Now, let's talk about views, because this is also very important to a lot of our clients. If you want stunning views in Central Austin, you're looking at high-rise condos downtown or along Lady Bird Lake. You can get incredible skyline views and water views from the upper floors of these buildings. And for some people, that urban setup is exactly what they're looking for. But if you're after those sweeping hill country views or lake views with a more natural and expansive feel, you're going to need to venture out to the western suburbs. This is anywhere between Westlake and Lake Travis. Before we talk about what this convenience actually costs, I want to quickly welcome you to the channel. My name is Aubrey Von Barron, and we help people buy, sell, and invest in Austin real estate. So if you're considering a move, be sure to reach out through the information below, and we would absolutely love to connect. If you're not quite ready, that's perfectly fine. Hop over to our website to browse exclusive listings, and be sure to join our newsletter as well. Now, let's talk about the cost of convenience. Central Austin real estate is expensive, and I mean really expensive relative to what you get in terms of square footage. A renovated 3-bedroom home in Zilker or Tarrytown can easily run $1.5 to $3 million, and you're often looking at homes on smaller lots with less yard space. Luxury condos downtown start start around $600,000 and can go well over $2 million for penthouses with views. The trade-off is location though. You're paying a premium to be close to absolutely everything. And for many people, especially young professionals, empty nesters, or anyone who really values walkability and being close to the action, that premium is absolutely worth it. In Central Austin, you're also dealing with Austin Independent School District, which has some excellent individual options, but the district as a whole doesn't have the same reputation as Eanes or Lake Travis ISD. That said, many families are perfectly happy with Austin ISD, especially when they're getting the lifestyle benefits of Central Austin. The other thing to point out about Central Austin is the density. This isn't suburban living with cul-de-sacs and quiet streets. You're going to have more neighbors, more traffic on your street, typically less privacy, and in some areas you're seeing townhomes and condos going up as that city density increases. If you're someone who craves space, quiet, and privacy, Central Austin might feel a bit too close for comfort, but if you love that energy of being around people, walking to dinner, and having everything at your fingertips, Central Austin offers a lifestyle that's pretty hard to beat. Now let's flip the script and talk about the suburbs. When I say suburbs, I'm talking about places like Round Rock, Pflugerville, Cedar Park, Georgetown, Lakeway, Bee Cave, Dripping Springs, and the various Lake Travis communities, and of course everything in between. The suburban Austin experience is completely different, and honestly, it's what most people actually end up choosing. And here's why. You get significantly more house for your money, much larger lots, often better schools, and a quieter, often more residential feel. For the same price you would pay for a small renovated home in Central Austin, you can get a brand new 4 or 5 bedroom house in the suburbs with a big yard, a 3-car garage, and access to incredible neighborhood amenities. And let's definitely talk about those amenities because suburban neighborhoods in Austin have really stepped up their game. We're talking about resort style pools with lazy rivers and splash pads, state-of-the-art fitness centers, tennis courts, miles of private trails, and in lake communities, actual marinas right in your neighborhood. These aren't just basic HOA pools. These are legitimate resort style amenities that you and your family have access to without dealing with those crowds. And many of these neighborhoods also have clubhouses, playgrounds, and community events that create a real sense of neighborhood culture. Let's take the Lake Travis area, for example. Neighborhoods like Rough Hollow and others offer marina access where you can literally walk out of your back door, head down to the neighborhood marina, and get on your boat. That is a lifestyle that you simply cannot get in Central Austin unless you're west of downtown in Westlake Hills or the Terrytown area. Beyond the neighborhood amenities, you're also close to some incredible outdoor spaces. The Hill Country is right there with state parks, nature preserves, and wide open spaces. You have numerous parks and miles of hiking and biking trails that feel worlds away from that urban environment. The amenities in the suburbs are about space, nature, and having room to breathe. It's a completely different feel from that urban park and trail system in Central Austin. Before we talk more about the homes that you can actually find in the suburbs, let's also talk about the shopping and everyday conveniences, because this is something a lot of people actually don't think about until they've actually made their move. Most of the big box stores like Costco, Target, Whole Foods, and of course H-E-B are newer and much more accessible in these suburbs. You have large modern shopping centers with plenty of parking, and everything is designed for that convenience factor. If you're someone who likes to do a big Costco run on the weekend, or you prefer having easy access to all of your major retailers without dealing with traffic and parking headaches, the suburbs make that incredibly easy. In Central Austin, you're typically dealing with older, smaller stores, or you're driving out to the suburban areas anyway to access these big box retailers. It's one of those quality of life factors that might seem small, but when you're doing it week after week, that convenience factor really adds up. Now let's talk about the home styles in the suburbs. If you're looking for contemporary architecture, I'm going to be honest with you, it's much harder to find in the suburbs unless you're in the more exclusive and expensive areas. Most of the suburban neighborhoods feature more of that traditional or transitional style, though there are certainly pockets of your more contemporary construction and offerings, especially in some of the newer Lake Travis communities and custom build areas as you go out west. What you will find in abundance are newer construction homes with fantastic open floor plans, high-end finishes, and plenty of space. And if waterfront living is important to you, you'll want to be near Lake Austin, in the Westlake and Terrytown areas, or Lake Travis farther west. These are spots where you can walk into your backyard and actually get on your boat. Top-rated schools are also a huge draw when people are deciding between Central Austin or the suburbs. Lake Travis ISD, Eanes, Round Rock, and Leander ISDs all have strong reputations and consistently high rankings. And for families, that's often the deciding factor. And even if you don't have kids, I find that many people pay attention to the school districts from a resale standpoint. standpoint. You're also getting more space between you and your neighbors, quieter streets, and a genuine neighborhood feel with other families and people all around you. Your kids can ride bikes around the neighborhood. You often have extra space for a home office or gym, and you're not dealing with the noise and density that you're going to find in most parts of Central Austin. And here's the big financial advantage. You get significantly more house for the money in the suburbs, where 1 to 1.5 million might get you a modest home in Central Austin. That same budget in the suburbs could get you a really nice home on a third of an acre with a pool and those resort style amenities that I mentioned. And let's talk about those hill country and lake views I also mentioned earlier. If sweeping panoramic views of the hills or the water are on your must-have list, the western suburbs are where you're going to find those. Areas like Lakeway, Bee Cave, the Lake Travis communities, and parts of Leander and Northwest Austin offer properties with truly spectacular views that go on for miles. In these areas, you're looking out over rolling hills and the lake and those big Texas skies. It's a completely different visual experience from what you get in Central Austin. And for many of our clients, especially those relocating from other states, those views are a major draw. But here's the reality check. You're trading convenience for space. Living in Leander or Lakeway means you're 30 to 45 minutes from downtown Austin. If you're commuting into the city for work, you're looking at a drive, especially during rush hour. The suburbs also don't have that walkable urban energy. You're driving to get your coffee, driving to restaurants, driving pretty much everywhere. There is no walking to a Michelin restaurant or biking to a music venue on a Tuesday night. So your social life and entertainment definitely require more planning and more driving. For some people, especially those working remotely or those who don't need to be downtown on a regular basis, that's a perfectly acceptable trade-off though. But if you're someone who thrives on spontaneity and being close to the action, those suburbs can start to feel a little bit isolating for some. The other consideration is culture and vibe, so to speak. Central Austin has that eclectic, creative, weird Austin energy that the city is known for. The suburbs are more straightforward, sometimes more polished overall, and typically much more conventional. You're not going to find the same dive bars, quirky coffee shops, or live music scene in spots like Round Rock or Cedar Park, although there are some cool spots in both of those places. The suburbs have their own restaurants and shopping, and they're improving all the time, but it's a different feel overall. If you move to Austin specifically for that Austin culture and energy, living 30 minutes outside of it can feel a little bit like you're missing out. Now let's talk about commute and traffic, because this is where things get real. If you live in Central Austin and work downtown or any central location, your commute is very easy. We're talking 10 to 15 minutes, and in many cases, you can bike or even walk. If you live in the suburbs and work downtown, you're looking at a 30 to 45 minute drive each way minimum, and often longer during those peak traffic hours. That's an hour to an hour and a half of your day spent in the car, oftentimes 5 days a week. And over the course of a year, that adds up to a massive amount of time. However, if you work remotely or your job is located in the suburban areas like the Domain or one of the corporate campuses in Round Rock, then living in the suburbs makes perfect sense and you avoid that commute altogether. Here's what's interesting. The suburbs are also seeing more development of their own entertainment and dining scenes all within their little bubbles. The Domain in North Austin, the Hill Country Galleria and Bee Cave, and downtown Round Rock all offer shopping, restaurants, and entertainment options. You're not completely cut off from civilization by any means, but it's still not the same as being in Central Austin, where you can walk to everything and you have more elevated dining options overall. So let's talk about lifestyle fit. Central Austin is ideal for young professionals, empty nesters, foodies, music lovers, and anyone who prioritizes walkability, culture, and convenience over space. It's perfect if you want to be close to your office downtown, if you love going out and being spontaneous, if you want contemporary architecture or luxury condo living, or if you really just value that urban energy and being steps away from the best restaurants and nightlife in the city. The suburbs are ideal for those who prioritize top-rated schools, people who work remotely or have jobs outside of downtown, anyone who wants more house and yard for their money, and those who love outdoor recreation and water activities. It's perfect if you want resort-style neighborhood amenities, hill country and lake views, the ability to have a boat and waterfront access, and that quieter, more spacious lifestyle overall. Here's the truth. There's definitely no wrong answer between Central Austin and the suburbs. It all comes down to what you value most. Do you want to be in the thick of things with walkability to incredible food, music, and nightlife, or do you value space, great schools, lake access, and those stunning hill country views? Both have real advantages and real trade-offs, and understanding what matters most to you is the key to making the right decision. Now, here's my challenge to you. I want you to tell me in the comments below, are you team Central Austin or team suburbs? And more importantly, why? why. What's the real deciding factor for you? Is it the schools, the walkability, the lake lifestyle, maybe the food scene? I genuinely want to know what matters most to you, because understanding that is the first step to finding the right place. And if you're serious about exploring Austin real estate and want to talk through which areas might be the best fit for you and your family, be sure to reach out to me directly. We'd be happy to connect about what's currently on the market and help you ultimately figure out where you should actually be looking. And if you're happy with the content I'm putting together for you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. I have so much more Austin content coming your way, including neighborhood deep dives, market updates, and real talk about what it's actually like living here. If there's a particular area or topic you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Until next time.